Hello, listeners. My name is Charles Scott. The program in which you're about to listen to is called Can We Talk? And I'm here with Charles Scott Jr.
How you guys doing today?
Well, you know, this weather is a little bit, I don't know how you'd say it. We came in, it was snowing. Before
Right.
the sun was out, then it was hot, and now it's cold.
Now
But you
it's
know
snowing.
what? This is
End of
New England.
March.
Just as, you know, this program is called Can We Talk? We talk about different issues that are constantly changing. So is the weather constantly changing.
Exactly, just like the real estate market.
And that's what we are going to sort of segue into. I am the broker for Tri-State Realty, and this is my son. He's also a broker. Every week we try to give you informative information about what's happening in the real estate market. If you're looking out there to rent a house, or rent an apartment, or buy a house, we are like a father-son team.
We're the go-to source, definitely.
And hopefully we can make your journey or make your search a little bit easier than it was before
Exactly.
you talked to us or had this conversation with us. A lot of things are happening, right?
A lot of changes in the market right now.
A lot of things are going on. Just like the weather's constantly changing, so now you see not only in the economy, but you know they say that things such as housing affect all of our lives.
Everything.
One of the things that they talk about is that the greater part of your money that you earn goes towards housing. And housing can either make you wealthy, you can lose money, you can have a situation where the rents are high, you're not able to save money. So it affects about everything that's happening within your life, and it's also up to you to find out as much information as you possibly can. And that's the purpose of this program right here.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
Help the public, definitely.
This program actually is co-produced with Eldridge Gloria Brown. She's not here today, but we want to give a shout out to her. And she will be coming in after we are off the air. She will also be coming in. She's on her way here. So with that, I want to talk about some of the things that are going on and since the last time that we spoke.
A lot of changes in the industry since the last time.
And we say that about every week. We think that maybe things are sort of going to slow down, right?
Nope. Every week, a new surprise. Interest rates from the war, everything's affecting the real estate industry right now.
And you showed me an article today. What was it? It said the perfect storm.
Oh, yes, the perfect storm is coming. You see the interest rates have actually gone up. The Federal Reserve did it. They actually hiked the rates up a little bit. And that's going to affect a lot of people's buying power. They're going to be qualified for less now. The house that, you were qualified last year, $300,000, with the rates going up, you could be qualified for $250,000. And that kind of like, puts a little stress on you. You say, oh, I should have bought the house last year that I went in, but now you see what's happening. The longer you wait, it has consequences.
That's true, because like you said, the perfect storm, and by the perfect storm, usually it means that all the things that you don't want to happen are happening.
Yes.
And so we're here to tell you, what can you do? You got, there's always things that are going to happen. There's always things that you can do to prepare yourself, or start preparing yourself, because perfect storms, one thing about a storm, doesn't last always.
Exactly. The sun will come out eventually.
That's what they say. They say the sun will come out tomorrow.
Yes.
So with this perfect storm, though, what do you do? That's what we're here for. We're going to sort of give you some advice as to some of the things that you can do to prepare for it. Last time we were on the air, we were talking about the Federal Reserve possibly hiking interest rates. Now, when I say that, and I say the storm won't be here for forever, the interest rate that just got hiked, this is just the beginning, right?
Exactly. They said there's supposed to be at least 6 more this year alone.
So can you imagine?
People think, oh, it's over. They hiked the interest rate. No, it's just beginning.
That's right. What the Fed does, and when we say Fed, we maybe explain ourselves, because some people, when you're in certain industries, you use terms and people say, who the Fed?
Who's this guy Fed?
It's this
costing me money.
Is it the FBI or somebody,
Right?
the Feds? Actually what happens is the Federal Reserve and like the central bank, these are people within the government that look over the economy, and their job is, if people are spending money like crazy, whenever you're spending money and you're spending a lot of money, the people that are selling you goods, naturally, not naturally, but they're inclined to go up on the price.
Supply and demand.
Right. Hey, if the stores are filled with shoppers and you're selling something for $10 and you go up to 12 and they still
pay it.
Well, hey, let's make all the profits while we can, right?
They keep it at 12.
But if the store owner keeps going higher and higher and higher, now that's not good, because eventually the people are going to run out of money.
Exactly.
And now they won't be able to pay their other bills. So you can't just keep going higher and higher, and eventually they'll stop buying. So the Federal Reserve is a sort of like a segment of the government. If the prices start getting out of hand, they raise the interest rates.
Yes.
Now you might say, well, how does that stop everything? Well, remember that store owner. Most stores and most big stores, they borrow money to buy goods to sell to you. So if they go and they borrow money and they pay, let's say, 2% for that money, and the Federal Reserve turns around and goes up to 3 and 4 and 5 for them to borrow that money, then they say, oh, that's a lot of money. I'm not going to borrow that money, so therefore I'm not going to have as many goods to sell. And by going up on the interest rates, then what happens also is that the people start cutting down on what they're buying. So it sort of puts, like, it's like a pot on a stove starting to steam over. The Federal Reserve sort of cools things down, because when you go to extremes, all extremes are not good. It's not good to have too many rich people and too many poor people. And it's not good to sort of have this situation, because then people resent and you have revolts, and then you have, in history, you have wars. So what happens is that the economy has to roll along at an even pace.
As my father was saying, the Federal Reserve basically cools down the market. They see everything. Basically, I would say one example someone told me that really makes sense is, like, for example, let's say a soda or a beer. As you pour the beer in there, it starts to froth. You see the head of the beer is about to spill over the cup. What the Federal Reserve is basically stops the pouring, so that froth can go back down, so people can get back to their daily lives and spending stuff normally. And one effect people really feel is the gas prices. You'll see that. That is definitely affecting different people's buying powers.
That's right, because if you go so high on the gas prices that people then cannot get to work, then if they can't get to work, then the productivity goes down.
Exactly.
And the productivity goes down, then it hurts all of us. Everybody gets hurt. So what the Federal Reserve does is, when they do go up on the interest rates, they try not to go up a lot. They go up a little bit at a time. So, like, I think the last time they went up, what was it, 1/4 of a point?
1/4 point, yes.
So they went up 1/4 of a point. Now, that's not going to stop everything. They don't want to, remember, they don't want to stop the economy from growing. They go too high up, and then what happens is you don't go out and buy that car. Because you say, oh, it costs too much to buy that car. You don't go out and buy that house. You don't go out and do too much of anything, because the interest rates are going up. So they'll go up 1/4 of a point. Now the next time they're looking, they say they may go up another 1/4 of a point. Now they may go up another 1/4. They meet, I guess, every 3 or 4 months?
They have a meeting.
They have a meeting, and they look over things, and they say, okay, let's raise the interest rate. So if they raise the interest rates 4 times, and they raise it 1/4 each time, now that only comes to 1 percentage point. So that's not going to devastate things, but they're warned. When you hear that, they're sort of like giving you a warning. It's like, slow down, slow down. This is
they're applying the brake, basically.
They're putting the brakes on the economy.
People are spending money too quickly.
Too quickly. So they're turning up the screws, slowing down the economy. Now, if they go up 6 times, as my son said, that's 1.5 points. That's still not going to be enough to devastate the economy. So they're still just putting the brakes on. Now, if they look and they see no one's listening to them, and they see the economy, everybody's still spending,
everything's kind of happening right now.
Which is what's happening right now.
People have a lot of money from 2020 and 21. The stimulus money. Some people didn't spend that money. Some people saved it. Some people spent all of it. And the thing is, with all that money influx into the economy, it's kind of like abnormal right now. The Federal Reserve is weighing their bets. They're saying, should we increase it a little bit, a lot? There's a lot of money in the economy right now. And as you can see, the house prices are a reflection of that.
That's right. That's right. what's happening with the housing prices right now is that when you have low interest rates, and this is where it affects you out there, because let's say, like I said when I started out, so these are the things that are changing. So what do you do? What, you're saying, so how does all of this affect me? What do I do? Well, here's how it directly affects you in the pocketbook. If you're renting right now, you know it's affecting your pocketbook because the rental market is insane. People are trying to find apartments to rent. People are calling night and day. People are looking for an apartment to rent. Now, why is that happening? Well, number one, what's happened is that you have an influx of people that are coming in from different states that want to be in the state of Connecticut.
Especially New York.
Especially New Yorkers are coming in. And you have a lot of people that are working from home.
Correct.
That didn't work from home before. And so, and the other thing that we see happening is the low interest rates have enabled investors and people that want to buy a 3-family or a 2-family house to buy it. And even though the cost may be high, because the low interest rate is so low, they can afford it. And they can buy it, and they can turn around, and the payment of buying that house is not as much as it was in the past.
Exactly.
So if you're out there sitting on the sidelines, now is still a good time to buy, believe it or not.
I'll say from like an investor's perspective, they see the low interest rates, you're like, wow, money is on sale right now. I can get a lot of money for cheap. Why wait? So they're going to take out as much as they can, refinance their properties, and they're going to buy something. Maybe they say inflated price, they might buy a 3-family house for $400,000, but what they're going to do is those tenants inside that house, they're in for a surprise. That new landlord is going to jack up the rent. 40% we've seen in some videos, right?
Ooh, crazy.
Oh my goodness, some articles we've seen online, 60%.
And this is what you need to know out there. What's happening is that the landlord is buying, the new landlord.
The new landlord.
And this is what I find all the time. So this is for all of the people that are sitting out there in their comfort level. There's a lot of people out there, and this always amazes me. You have people out there that have been renting in their apartment. I say to people, how long you been in your old place? 23 years? I'm like, 23 years.
Wow.
You've been living there for 23 years. So it's not uncommon that I've been getting conversations where people have actually been renting their apartment for over 20 years.
2 decades plus.
20 years. And then what happens is that they're happy with the landlord. Landlord's happy with them. I'd be happy too if you rented for me for 20 years. You've paid for the house 4 times over. Now, what happens is I say to them, what are you going to do if the landlord sells the house? Oh, he's not selling the house.
Never sell. He's a good landlord.
He's a good landlord. But guess what? He bought it way 20 years ago for $50,000. Now someone comes in, they offer him $350,000 or $400,000.
We're seeing 400 a lot now. 400.
$400,000. Now that landlord is saying, hey, I'm in my 70s right now. I'm not going to be around for another 30 years at age 100 being a landlord.
Exactly.
It's only, and the house is paid for. I want to retire. I want to move down south. I want to move to a warmer climate. I want to enjoy my life and all the work that I've put into shoveling the snow, fixing the bathroom,
toilets, mice,
clogged up
the
toilet,
landlord duties.
dealing with the landlord. I'm tired, so I'm selling the house. So now here comes the buyer from another city or whatever it may be. Interest rates are low, so the new buyer can buy the house. Maybe the mortgage is, let's say, $2,000 or $2,500 a month, whatever it may be. And the new landlord is saying, well, hey, the tenant's paying me $1,500 a month. They've been here 20 years. So if the mortgage is going to be $2,500 with everything, that tenant's going to give me $1,500. So for $1,000, I'm going to buy the house, and that's all that's coming out of my pocket. And not only that, if the tenant stays another 20 years, they'll pay for that too.
Exactly. Good tenant.
And so now all of a sudden the tenant gets the letter in the mail.
There's a letter.
We're selling the house, and the new landlord is going to be X, whoever it may be. So the tenant has 2 choices now. because the new landlord is going to say, I'm going up on the rent. It's not 15, it's 1,800 a month. He may say, well, I can get more money. And if they decide to move, so be it. I'll get somebody else coming in willing to pay more money.
'Cause the demand is there. This time is different. The thing is, these landlords actually, they can be kind of picky. They can say, I want a perfect credit score. I want the person to be on the job for 10 years. I want no pets, and they can actually, they can be kind of like choosy because the demand for rents right now is actually it's crazy.
It's insane.
It's insane.
So now this new landlord comes in, and the new landlord has to charge more rent than the old landlord because look at it this way. The old landlord has no mortgage. So if you give him $700, he could still make it. The new landlord's paying $400,000. The new landlord got to pay out $400,000, $350,000, $400,000. So the new landlord has to charge more to make the numbers work. So therefore, the rent goes up. Now that tenant that's out there been in this apartment for 20 years, all of a sudden is frantic and saying, oh, I got to find a place to move. Now, what happens is you got to realize, and this is for all the people, like I said, that are sitting out there and you're thinking about maybe buying a house, but I'm just giving you some information as to what's happening in the real world out here. Now the tenant automatically, let's say, calls us or calls you.
I get those calls every day. The landlord sold the house. I need somewhere to go. The thing is, they're very frantic. They're in a desperate situation. And, I can take their application, and I try to find them something. But the thing is, their mindset is still 20 years ago. They're saying,
there you go.
A 3-bedroom for $1,700? I might as well buy a house. That's what they tell me. And I say, you're right.
And you're right. You might as well buy a house. But guess what? If you're just sitting there renting and you're not preparing yourself to buy the house, then you're caught off guard. That's what we're trying to tell you, and that's why we are here saying we want to help you by enlightening you as to what you need to do to get ready. And you need to get ready like now, like yesterday. Like yesterday.
Exactly,
but
before the next hike.
but it's not too late. You have to start doing something because things are not going to change. And for those that say, well, things are going to go back to the way that they were, that's not going to happen because, and I'll tell you why, rather than just making that statement. Number one, the cost of materials is so high right now. If you went out and even found some land to begin with, remember, land is not something that we make. It can't manufacture. God put so much land out there, and that's it. So therefore, if the houses are built on all the land that's available within the area, what do? You have to deal with what you got. So now the land has been saturated with houses, and the cost of lumber is up. The cost of materials is up. The cost of labor is up.
Appliances, supply chain. It's hard to get fridges. You see some houses we see on the website, on our realtor website, houses, ready to go, but there's no fridge, no stove. Those are on the way, as they say.
They're out in the ocean.
Yes.
In the supply chain.
One of those boats.
On one of the boats. And when they get here, the appliance companies and stores are sitting on the pier just waiting to grab it. That's mine. That's mine.
Exactly.
Give me that one. Give me this one.
Even if it's the wrong one. Silver, they want it white. Give me the silver one.
Give me a blue one, purple. I don't care.
Put it in the house.
Anything. So what's happening is that, as you can see, these things are not going to change. So you have to prepare yourself. What do you need to do? You need to, start saving as much money as you possibly can. Because one of the big things that you just said, and I had that thought in my mind, and I wanted to make sure we got it out there, is that many people, and I feel bad, coming to us looking for maybe a rental. They have a 20-year-ago mindset. They are thinking what it was like 20 years ago, or 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago. It's totally different now.
Totally different.
Totally different. Years ago, you had a nice presentation, you knocked on the door, you met the landlord, you gave him the money, he gave you the keys. Now it's totally impersonal. It's not like that. The landlord, he's looking at many applications, and he's going to pick the best out of all of them. And what's that? They got that new service.
Yes, I was going to say, one thing that's also different is technology now. These landlords have apps and stuff like that. Like there's rentalspree.com, rentspree.com, where they don't even see the tenant. They'll say, have them go online, apply online. And that also makes another gap for people that aren't in the technology. You have some people that have been in a house for 20, 30 years, you know, and they may be in their 60s or 70s. They only have a smartphone, they have a flip phone, they don't have a laptop. And that puts them at a disadvantage in this market.
That's right. So, you know, if for many of the people that are out there, you need to sit down with your sons and your daughters, the teenagers, and many of these children in the high schools and the grammar schools now, they know more about technology
Yes.
than many of the older people. So now in the world, everything you just about are going out there to do, it has to do with technology. If you are applying for even an apartment for rent, they want you to go online, put all your information. They want you to upload all your pay stubs, upload your credit report, upload this, upload that. And then it goes into a system. And that system stores your information so that if you apply for an apartment for this house or that house or this house, that main company has the information.
Yes.
And if you don't get that apartment, they have that information where they can send it to the next apartment. So everything is online, everything is uploaded, and everything now, no matter what you go out there to do, you know, you go out there. Just today, I know you were looking for a shirt, remember? And you went to the store and knocked, and he said, we don't deal with the public anymore.
He said, go on my website.
Go on my website. We don't deal with the public. Doors are locked. You got to go online and order everything.
Yes.
But what happens if you don't have a computer? What if happens you got to go in and put your username and your password. And I got so many usernames and passwords that that's one
Your
thing.
Your password is forgot my password.
I can say my son has helped me out, and he said, you got 50 different passwords and 50 different. I'm like, well, I got them all written down here and there. And I says, I can't even remember half of them half the time. And every time I go on there, I got to go, where it says, forgot your password. Who was your favorite pet? What school did you go to? I got to put all that information just to get to the first base, to get to the next. And then if I put that in wrong, the computer kicks me out and says, you're
locked out.
You're locked out. And then I get locked out of everything. So if this occurs to me, imagine what it occurs to the people out there. What happens to, and it's sad because what happens to the grandmothers and the grandfathers and the older people that really don't have this technology, and something happens where they have to move or they have to buy a house? There's all of this technology and hurdles that they have to go through. What we do offer is personal service.
Yes.
In other words, how can we help you? We offer personal service with our clients. And we're able to send them through different
We help them
apps.
step by step.
We help them step by step. How do you fill this out? How do you get here? How do you do that? And that's what happens when you got personal service, and you have less and less of that out there now.
Exactly. I'm there to help out with the technology factor.
Right. My son went to school for technology.
Yes.
He went to the college to I said to him, well, now I was wondering what all of that knowledge
That's right.
you have, when we're going to get to use all of that.
And
the things went like on a curve. Everything came back to the technology.
And what did that was COVID. COVID, they say, sped up the economy like 10 years as far as online ordering and technology. You see Amazon. Amazon's the biggest company right now. You see Jeff Bezos, richest man in the world. And that's all because of COVID. Shut all the stores down. People aren't going to malls. And they're basically forced to go online. And we're seeing that same technology, trend is going into real estate and into the mortgages.
Into mortgage.
Yes.
You can't even apply for mortgage now without going online. And
Yep.
you go online, you got to put all that information in there. So there's a lot of changes that are occurring. There's more and more technology. What we do foresee for the future, we don't have a little crystal ball, but we see this occurring even more so.
Yep.
The other day, you and I were watching a program where if you got a refrigerator and you got groceries, the new refrigerator, every time you take something out of the refrigerator, it will put the order in for you to the
Yep.
grocery store and tell the grocery store you need another gallon of milk. And what will happen is that when you finished all your grocery shopping and all that, you walk into the grocery store, they got a list
They
of
got
all
it
the
ready.
things you need because the computer in the refrigerator told the grocery store that you needed these different items. Goes one step further. you go in and take out what you want and walk back out, and you don't pay them anything because they got a computer chip in
Yes.
each one of the items that you walk out of the store with, which bills your credit
As
card.
you walk out the door, they bill you.
And so you get your credit card, and you don't go in with no money. You walk out with, you just go in and pick around the shelves, put everything in the bag, and walk right back out of the store. Because when you walk out of there, it scans everything that you bought and puts it on your
Isn't
credit
that
card.
amazing?
There's believe it, this is not the future. These are stores doing
It's
it
the
now.
present right now.
They're doing it now.
Yes.
What is it? Some of the
Amazon Go's doing it, and the thing is, other stores look at that and say, "Wow, the customer walked in and out, and I got their full grocery list. They were in and out the store. I can get more people in this way."
stores are doing it now.
They're going to see the more stores adapting it. I'm sure Stop and Shop a lot more.
So there's a lot of things that are happening out there. What we're saying is that every week we bring to you more and more technology, and it has our heads swirling. So if you need to get ready for this, in other words, you can fight it, but then it's like people come to me and they say, I want to buy a house, but I have no credit. I don't believe in credit cards. I don't believe in charging anything. All my money's in the mattress in my
Oh,
house.
we've heard that before.
And I'm like, well, you can't buy a house like that. But I've saved up all my money. I'm up on all my bills are paid off. I said, but you have no credit. They go,
Need
well,
credit.
but I got money. I says, you can have cash, but they want credit. They don't want cash. So you've got to prepare yourself for the coming world, for things that are going to be out there that you are going to be required of you in order for you to do certain things. You don't have to have this. You don't have to have the credit. But look at how many things you are going to deprive yourself of.
And that's why we're here. We're here to help.
So maybe you can add a little bit more.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're here to help. We're here to walk you step by step through the house buying process. We also do apartments also, and we're here to help the community and give out as much information as possible.
We do a lot of free seminars. We
Yes.
got one that we are going to be hopefully doing online.
Yep, Zoom.
And we're going to have that open to the public. And there's no charges for any of these things. What we're giving out is information. We're going to give out free information, and hopefully this will be something that will affect your life.
Yes.
So with that, closing statements, and again, Charles Scott Sr.,
Charles Scott Jr.
And until next week, and like I said, Eldridge Gloria Brown will be coming on.
Yes.
And until next week, God bless. Shalom.
Amen.